Are you ready?
I'm ready to rumble.
Okay, so guys, we watched The Last Jedi yesterday. Dan showed it to me.
Oh, I can't believe we showed up to the review in the same jacket. How embarrassing.
Oh my god.
Oh no. What a pickle.
Just like a little hint at my allegiance in this video. This is actually Dan's t-shirt.
My allegiance is to the Empire.
As always. So we watched it and I've had lots of messages asking if we would review it.
Oh, yeah.
Dan has a lot to say about it.
We've never specified this is a Poe Dameron jacket, or did you just do that?
No, I thought they'd realise if they're watching.
Or a Finn jacket.
Or a Ray also wears it. All the trio wear this jacket. It's a cool jacket. Yeah, everyone.
And now we're wearing it.
And now we're wearing it. Arguably the most important.
Probably.
People to wear these jackets. But yeah, basically you guys wanted us to review it. Dan has a lot of thoughts on it. He was desperate for me to see it.
You wanted it, and we're delivering.
Before we went into this, I was aware it was a polarising film. And I wasn't sure why.
Controversial.
I'd seen on my timeline, like on Tumblr, I follow a wide variety of people, and on Twitter as well, and the reaction was completely split. Rarely did I see anybody in the middle. Most people either loved it or hated it. So that was unusual for me.
But the viewing we did yesterday was the second time I saw it. I saw it for the first time, the first day of release at midnight in the London IMAX. And that is the only other time I've seen it.
And I've only seen it once.
As I had no real desire to watch it again.
We had a good time watching it yesterday though.
Yeah, I'm happy that I watched it with you.
Yeah.
If I was by myself, I wouldn't have watched it again.
So, it's very polarising. Dan, from the get-go, has not been pleased with this. Like, there have been many times in videos where he's almost got into it, and he's kind of had to be stopped because it just...
No, I went to see it with my friend, and we're both massive Star Wars fans. Like, massive Star Wars fans. Like, we watched Clone Wars and Rebels, whatever. And it took us all of 5 minutes after the film's end, when we were walking along South Bank, before we started slating it.
And you've never stopped?
No, I've never stopped.
You've never stopped.
I probably never will stop.
So my opinion watching the film, just going into it, I mean, I enjoyed, like, there were enjoyable parts. I did enjoy
I think
parts.
I'll say first of all, it's a well-made film. It's a fine.
The visuals are nice.
Film, yeah. It looks cool. Pacing's not terrible.
I would argue the pacing in places is pretty bad.
I think it's interesting because you start off with Poe Dameron and the Resistance, and then you sort of go to Rey and it loses pace, but then once Rey and the Ben scenes start happening, those scenes start picking up pace, and then you cut back to the Resistance and those scenes have died.
But that's what I mean with the pacing being bad.
I guess. And I think I think after like the halfway mark, it's sort of alright.
It does even itself out. But to start with, it's like they're going on different times because in one group of characters is going through a sequence of events which are happening over like a couple of hours, and then another group is starting from the end of the last film, and it's a bit.
Yeah, I think it's all. Yeah.
It does meet at the end, but
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I did enjoy watching it. But overall, I feel like the overwhelming emotion is disappointment for me. Disappointment, really. Yeah, because there were so many times
There were
so many times in that film where I felt like they were going to do more, and they could have pushed it more.
Yeah.
And then things stopped dead. And that's something that frustrates me. Almost worse than if it had been an entirely bad film, when they tease you with stuff which could be good, and then they don't go there.
Yeah.
And then it kind of feels just even more frustrating. Because you get your hopes up as a fan and then...
Yes, and I think the biggest issue I have is that it's quite clear now when they decided, once Disney took over, I'm not blaming Disney at all by the way, it's not Disney's fault, it's Lucasfilm's fault. Once they decided they were going to start this new trilogy, there was no concrete plans in place.
Well, you can see with this film and the last film, they come from completely different perspectives, they give completely different vibes, they don't feel like they're part of a trilogy.
Yeah.
They feel like just separate
things.
Yeah,
even the ending of this film, that weird little added bit on the end with the
weird
little
child
kid
and the broom.
With the broom, and he's like, that just feels like it would probably fit better at the end of a trilogy. Once they started Force Awakens, there was no plan what they were going to do for 8 and 9. Maybe J.J. Abrams had an idea in his head if he was asked, but clearly he wasn't asked, and they decided to get, well, first of all, that Colin guy, and then they brought in Ryan Johnson.
Is it Ryan? I think it's Ryan. I always thought it was Ryan, but then I heard Mark Hamill saying Ryan.
I'm not sure, I don't know.
Either of those.
But whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And I don't actually, as a filmmaker, I don't dislike Ryan.
Ryan, let's go with Ryan.
Ryan. This doesn't seem right to me.
Alright, well I'm gonna go Ryan, you go Ryan.
R-Dog Johnson. So his directing style is not the issue.
The directing was nice.
Directing
in
was
terms of
nice.
shots,
I loved, all 500 shots of that island. I can never get enough of seeing that island.
But not only did we see it in day, we saw it at night. We
Night,
saw it from above. We saw it panning in
Sunset,
from the side.
from the side, all around,
Up and-
360, up, down, aerial.
They love that island.
It's called Act 2, fun fact. Which is
What's called that too?
The island is called Act 2, which is a nice little heads up, like Act 2 of the series. Act 2.
They should have called the island Pile of Shit.
They should have called it Fuck Up. Are we allowed to swear in these videos? Back to that point I've been making for the past 2 hours. I wanted them to go into the trilogy with a clear plan. Phantom Menace to Revenge of the Sith was Anakin's a little boy and he's gonna be seduced by the dark side.
It never wavered from that either. It was very... I know other
that was
things
always
happened.
Yeah. And I mean, I know you can argue that A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, George Lucas was making it up as he went along with the whole sort of Luke and Leia thing and then the Darth Vader's his father thing rather than Obi-Wan. But still, it was like a coherent story.
Yes, very much.
And the characters progressed.
And it all
and
felt in
developed.
the same... They all felt like they all had the same humour. They all had the same vibe.
Yeah.
Like, you'd go from one to the next and it would feel really seamless. Like, you could really believe it.
Exactly, yeah. You could watch them back to back.
This literally felt like someone else had taken on, like, the franchise as they did, but they'd like, the characters felt different. The whole vibe felt different. The message felt different.
They really did. They sort of, in terms of the three leads, they reinvented Poe Dameron.
I don't know if they reinvented him. I think they maybe just...
No, they gave him a new sort of attitude, and rather than being this sort of, which I don't mind, by the way, I quite liked how they did Poe in the Last Jedi, but rather than him being this sort of happy kind of respected kind of, oh yeah, he's the best pilot, look at him, he's like cheering as he's flying past, he suddenly became this sort of
the rebel pilot.
The
troublemaker.
you troublemaker, you rebel without a cause. Yeah. But which I'm not that fussed about that. I like the focus they gave to Poe. Finn.
Right, are we going to talk about the fact that one of the first things they had Finn do in this film, which I was really shocked at. I was incredibly shocked when this happened.
I knew you would be. Yeah.
Finn trying to escape.
Yeah.
When
So
everything was going
after
on.
everything that happened in The Force Awakens, all the great message of heroism and how people can change.
Finn is incredibly brave. Like,
Yeah.
Finn has always been... I know he's scared, but like there was something, they almost played it comedically, and I wouldn't have minded it if there was time spent on it. Like Finn talking about how maybe all his life he's been like getting ready for war, and he's finally happy, and he just wants to be safe for once, and he wants his family to be safe. But it was almost played for comedy, like, oh, Finn's off, Finn's trying to escape. How funny.
But more so than that, in that scene, what bothered me is the fact that he saw Rose crying, and you even saw like a shot of him over Finn's shoulder of like Rose crying, and you presumed, oh look, our hero's just seen a poor person sitting there crying to herself. He's going to go over and make sure she's all right. And then the next thing you know, he's just walked straight past her, and he's packing his bag. It's just...
I really felt like Finn changed in this film.
Finn
and
did change a lot.
I didn't like it so much. I don't feel like he was the same Finn that I watched in the last.
I'd say Rey stays pretty much...
Ray is consistent. Ray is
similar, yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
And I love Ray. I think Daisy Ridley being chosen for Ray is the most brilliant choice for Ray. I think she carries it.
Yes.
In every scene, she's so interesting and likeable, and yeah, I just love her. I think she's great. Can I just say that Daisy Ridley wished me a happy 19th birthday on Twitter before she was famous? Little tiny story story time. Right, I love like Holby and like Casualty, like and stuff like. I love Holby and Casualty. Yeah, I love Holby and Casualty, and basically Daisy Ridley was like an extra, not an extra, she had like a small part in Casualty.
Yeah.
And at the time I just saw her and I thought, oh my god, she's like really charismatic. Like, you know how she has just got like this charismaticness to her. And I looked her up on the credits afterwards and I just thought, oh, I'll go on Twitter and like see if she's on there. Contacted her, said I thought she was really great. She was like, oh, thank you. And then when it was my birthday, I said it was my birthday, and she said happy birthday to me. So that was back in the day when she had a Twitter. She doesn't have one anymore. But
Back in the day.
Back in the day. But yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Daisy Ridley, we're like that.
Yeah.
Me and her. Anyway, she was great. Now, this is... Right. I feel like this is going to be one of the biggest issues here. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about this. And this video is going to be all over the place. It's not planned, it's just chatty. Kylo Ren. Right, so I know this is going to divide people, and people are divided over Kylo Ren. And there's also stuff to do with Reylo shipping, you know, Rey and Kylo. This is a big thing on the internet right now. There seems to be almost like a war going on between Reylos and non-Reylos. And now I feel like, having watched the film, I've got a more balanced view, because I can kind of see, like, okay, so this is what people are watching and this is what they're getting it from.
Yeah.
I have to say that I did think the film was setting up Reylo.
I think it... Yeah.
I did feel like the film was trying to set that up. Maybe that's
until,
just me.
Yeah. But they were until they weren't.
Yeah, this is what I just think is... Okay, let's talk about this.
Oh, that's something I realised yesterday watching it again. It feels like the first 2.5 acts of the film, up until the fight with the red guards in Snoke's room, that feels like the same film. Or it feels like it's been, thematically, it's leading somewhere and it gets to that point. And then it feels like a new writer comes on, or it feels like the studio somehow got involved and they were sort of like, oh no, we need a good guys versus bad guys third act. And then suddenly
all the complexity,
all the development,
the nuance,
the characters went through.
Yeah.
Of Rey sort of trying to understand, what does it mean to be on the dark side? What does it mean to be on the light side? And not being too keen on it.
Yeah.
And Ben sort of being pulled to the light, and we're being told this whole time that the Jedi are silly, the Sith are silly. Let's not be either of them.
And then
it gets to the point where and they sort of have a little.
Well, this is where I'm confused, because I'm not sure what the film wanted me to take from it.
Yeah.
And I still feel confused now. And this is why I can understand both sides of this argument with the Kylo and Reylo stuff. I can understand, people liking Kylo, disliking Kylo, people liking Reylo as a couple or not. Because it felt like there were two agendas going on in the film, and it's all about which you prefer. For the first half of the film, it was very much trying to make us sympathise and empathise with Kylo, wasn't it? It was very much like, yes, he's a villain, but he's troubled. There's light in him. They kept saying things like, there's conflict. I feel conflict in him. And there was a sense that he wasn't completely bad.
Yeah, and he's being told he's weak and he's nothing like his grandfather.
And we see that, obviously he thought that, his uncle was going to kill him. We can obviously see Luke's side as well. It's quite balanced. But you can...
Yes, actually, I really liked how they did that.
Yeah. Both had different...
The three perspectives we see.
Yeah.
I really, really liked how they did that. Also, how terrifying does Luke look in that first perspective? When he's like...
And if that's what's going on in Kylo's mind,
terrifying.
But yeah, I wasn't sure, because I really felt like they were trying to get us to feel those, sympathy for Kylo. So it felt a little bit like a slap in the face when I came into this, I can give or take Kylo, to be honest. He wasn't one of my favourite characters in the first film. He had a lot of potential, but, I thought he was good. I wanted to see what they're going to do with him.
Yeah.
And in this second film, I was really excited, because what they did up to a certain point was exciting. I love the grey area between. I love the idea that, because I've always thought the Jedi are flawed. Obviously the Sith... Well, the Sith are different from, the Empire as well. The Sith and the Jedi, there's good and bad things about both.
Yes, yeah.
The Sith is good because it allows you to have emotion, but it is negative.
Being a Sith's all sort of about passion and acting on impulse.
But you can have too much of that and it can become too, self-absorbed.
Yeah.
Whereas the Jedi, makes you repress emotion, which can also be negative.
Yes.
So what you want is a balance.
Yeah.
And I thought that was where the film was taking us. There were so many lines about balance.
Yeah, and not just the lines in the film though as well. In the sort of new expanded universe canon, they're sort of really beforehand they were really amping up the whole Grey Jedi thing. I'm not sure if it ever got confirmed, but I think Ahsoka was sort of going down that path from Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Rebels.
So just explain Grey Jedi.
The Grey Jedi is just the state in between being a Jedi and a Sith. So you don't particularly agree with either of them, but you still want to do the right thing, and you sort of can have more freedom in yourself to how you want to achieve doing the right thing. It's just that sort of thing. But yeah, in all the new canon books, all the sort of comics and stuff, they were sort of amping up this Grey Jedi thing, almost as if they were sort of trying to ease the general audience into the idea they were going to introduce in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, as well as, like you were saying, the lines and the thematic links with Yoda destroying the Jedi stuff and...
Yes, it's it almost felt relevant to our generation as well.
Yeah, even one of the taglines of the film was, used in all the trailers, was the kill the past thing and let the... it's
But I really felt like they were trying to make us sympathise with Kylo, and I did sympathise. I mean, obviously he's still a baddie, but I thought, there's good in him and I really thought he was going to turn.
Yeah,
so I spent all this time watching, thinking, okay, Kylo's going to suddenly have a conscience wake up.
Yeah.
And realise, wait a second, there's still some light in him, he can do this.
Yeah.
And then when it didn't happen, it felt...
But it's not that it didn't happen, though. the perfect scene for it to happen happened. It actually, physically, with my own eyes, I witnessed the perfect, ideal scene.
I cheered.
Yeah, I did.
When Ray and Ben are fighting back to back.
And when I saw it in the IMAX, people were cheering.
Yeah.
But it happens. And then suddenly it just stops. And he just sees the throne and suddenly he becomes hungry for power.
And the thing is, I don't mind that characterisation of Kylo, but I feel sort of cheated and like they wasted my time, because I feel like, well, why did you waste my time with all this when we could have been doing other things in the film? Okay, if you want to show Kylo as two-dimensional villain, fair enough.
Yeah.
Don't waste my time with like...
Don't waste my time.
I feel like my time was wasted, much as Rey's time was wasted essentially by the end of that, because I'm sure Rey thought she was getting somewhere as well. Like Rey's given up her time.
Yeah.
Thinking, right, there's some good in this person, like, come on now.
I genuinely do think, though, there's something, behind the scenes, there's something going on with that third act. Like, I feel like...
It did feel different.
Yeah.
Because we ended the...
I feel like maybe it wasn't finished properly when the first draft was given in, or someone else came over and...
Well, we were saying, weren't
because
we?
there's a whole... Rey gets from one place to another place.
That's what we were saying. Rey, like, and Kylo have their fight, and there's an explosion, and then Rey's gone.
Yeah, they've got that whole lightsaber thing going on.
The next time you see her, she's flying in the Millennium Falcon with Chewie, and she's cheerful. She's happy.
Yeah, she's like,
hey,
woohoo! How do I fly this thing? Yeah. Whoa! Yeah.
And it just felt so bizarre.
Yeah.
We thought what would be really great, and what we thought it was leading to, because, like, it's not just us, is it? Like, during that film, it felt like the dark side was calling to Rey.
Yeah.
And the light side was calling to Kylo.
Yeah. Well, that first training session she has with Luke, where she's sitting on the rock.
It's very played.
And she's experiencing the Force.
Yeah.
And then suddenly that big dark side pit calls her.
And it's interesting.
And I was thinking, yes,
but isn't it interesting?
yes, this is going to be good.
It's sort of like, I thought they were going to do something like Rey and Ben have their troubles in different senses.
Yeah.
And I thought they were both going to choose the wrong path in a certain sense and then come back into the middle, like you thought.
Yes.
Because Rey, obviously, she wants a family and she wants belonging. And in the last film, I remember her saying something... she was told, wasn't she, that you will find belonging in the future, not in the past. So Rey wants belonging. And in that scene, that brilliant scene where there's different versions of her, it was the dark side, wasn't it? It was the order of the dark side, feeling like you're a part of the dark side. Like... she wants to feel belonging.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting statement about how, like, bad organisations and stuff can, like, recruit those that are vulnerable, you know, and twist them. And I thought it was an equally interesting thing with Ben, because I felt like Snoke had taken a vulnerable child there and manipulated.
Yeah.
And I thought it was sort of like some comparisons going on. So, and then they didn't... By the end, Rey was good, Kylo was bad, it just stopped and it became different.
I think... regardless of anything else, what annoys me the most is that the film did nothing.
Wasted my time.
No, it did. Yeah, it was a waste of time. It did. Really, we're nowhere further than where we were at the end of The Force Awakens. Really.
No, we're nowhere different.
No. And it just felt like this is the because I know how many comparisons there were made from The Force Awakens to A New Hope. So this one, there was sort of the comparisons being made to The Empire Strikes Back, which did change a lot. The Empire Strikes Back was an excellent sequel, as well as sort of having a completely new tone that set up the third one. Whereas this one is just sort of there and pointless, and it does nothing to sort of change cinema. Like, the Star Wars films are massive landmark blockbuster films.
They're iconic,
that shape like society, really. They shape like popular culture.
Well, most people would reference Star Wars and know Star Wars.
So they need to do things that are exciting and new and get people talking. If they keep doing the same dull sort of good guys versus bad guys thing, like, people are going to lose interest. Like, that's the reason all this backlash has happened from the fans. It's because it is getting old now. It was a boring choice to make. Not exploring what would happen if Rey went to the dark side, or if Ben came back to the light side, or if they sort of joined in the middle. It's just dull. It really is dull.
It loses its moral complexity.
Yes, it really does.
Which is where you feel like it should be leading in this day and age. Because that's so relevant to today. Yeah,
and I can't believe that our three protagonists, only in the final scene of the sequel, are they in the same scene together?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
This is something I wanted to talk about. Right, so we have Rose being included. Now, I like Rose a lot, and I loved her sister. It was her sister, wasn't it? Her big sister.
That was her sister, yeah, at the start.
I was cheering for that girl. I loved her. It was really emotional at the
Imagine
end.
being that actress. She got her own little Star Wars short film, really, didn't she?
I know.
It was sort of like
Yeah. I really liked Rose, but I felt like her subplot with Finn let both those characters down.
Oh, Canto. Oh. Oh.
It was unnecessary. Where did it go? What was the point? What was the point? What was the point of it? I love Finn. I want Finn to be doing things. I want Finn. I want Finn and Poe to share scenes, because we were discussing this, weren't we? We were saying that
it would have made it more interesting if it was Finn and Poe that went off on this secret mission together.
Because these are two characters that had a relationship in the last film, and to build on how has their relationship changed?
Yeah.
How will it develop into the next film?
Yeah.
You know, how can we see them work together? What conflict will there be between their personalities?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then also, you were saying the guy they actually went to find in the end was a real letdown, and you were saying it should have been Lando.
Yes, I think he's called DJ or something, or he's called DJ for short. He's played by Benicio del Toro, and he's fine as a character.
He's fine.
Yeah,
he's fine. He's just not really necessary.
Like Benicio del Toro does like a good job. Yeah. But it really should have and could have been Lando.
Or it could have been Lando's kids, or
it
could have been, any of those.
Yeah.
Especially also because we're having the Lando in the new Han Solo film. It would feel great to have it all like.
It would have made a bit.
Yeah,
it would have felt a bit more. Yeah.
It would have been exciting.
It would have been exciting. I don't really know why they're not including Lando.
I don't really understand that.
He's not even been mentioned.
What's he up to now?
Yeah.
What's going on with Lando?
I don't know if they've got some issue with Billy D. Williams or something, but he's.
I don't know.
They've got a certain disliking for Billy D. Williams, but yeah, there's no Lando mentioned anywhere.
No, I think that was really annoying. And just generally, those scenes were frustrating. It didn't make sense. There was a strange plot line with the weird goat things, being
the ugly things.
Dan really hates
so ugly.
them. Dan hates them.
Honestly, they look stupidly ugly.
Every single time they came on the
see
screen,
their face.
We're sitting there watching.
And I think you've got what's coming to you.
we're watching.
I don't really, and I don't support animal cruelty.
We were watching it together, and every time they came up on the scrine, Dan would give like a little groaning noise.
When I saw it in the IMAX, I was quite close to the front. So you know how massive the IMAX screen is in London. So it was it was in my face, it was in my nightmares, it's everywhere.
You were treated to so much of them as well.
I could do with some more scenes of them crashing through some rooms though.
Right.
Just a whole 30-minute segment of the film could have been dedicated to different rooms with weird little aliens in them. Like that weird singing fat Pokemon thing.
We noticed
like,
that. What was that? Was it an opera singer? And it looked like it had a six-pack and boobs.
I didn't.
It was so quick that I didn't even see it properly. But it was small and it was singing. Wasn't it singing?
Yeah.
And then it was gone.
Yeah, but she doesn't even compare to my favourite alien, which was the one who sort of attempts to put a coin into BB-8. Realises he can't, and then he's sort of caressing him at the same time, and then he burps in his face. And then what an icon of Star Wars.
Someone wrote that in the script. Someone actually was like, and then he can't.
More time, that scene was left in, but the scene where Luke has a little moment to himself about Han Solo's death was cut out. Whoever wrote that scene definitely also wrote the nipple scene.
Right, can I just say, the nipple scene was worse than I anticipated. I've been warned about the nipple scene.
I warned her.
I was warned about the nipple scene, but there were several elements of that scene that I was not warned about. First of all, I wasn't expecting the creature to be so aware.
Right.
The creature was sitting up. This creature obviously walks on its back legs or whatever.
It's like it was waiting for Luke.
Its nipples were down there, weren't they?
Yeah,
it was sitting up.
Well, I suppose they'd be where like a cow's would be if a cow was on all fours.
Yes, but a cow doesn't sit up like it's lounging and look at the person milking it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't.
Yeah, what was that weird bit about where the creature sort of like was finished being milked, and then he looks over at Rey, and then Rey somehow like interprets that as like.
I made it so.
Yeah, so awkward. What was he thinking? What was he proposing?
Oh, was he trying to betray over that?
Yeah. Odd scene to leave in.
It was a weird scene to leave it to put in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, why wasn't it just like a normal cow or something, like Alien? Like, no, it sits up and like...
Yeah, odd. Very odd. There was another weird, suggestive sort of line when they phone up Maz Kanata, or Kanata, whatever, Maz Kanata, and she sort of... She says she's talking about where they'll find this DJ guy, the thief hacker Kanto
DJ.
Yeah, DJ. And she sort of says something like, I can't even remember what she said. Do you remember what she said?
No.
She made some suggestive comment, I'm telling you.
About her and this DJ?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
She was sort of like, trust me, he knows what he's doing, or something like, I can't remember what it was.
Something from
And then Finn sort of goes, like, but there's no need for it. It's like Stephen Moffat wrote this script.
He's broken.
Yeah. Let me add in some suggestive bits. Yeah. You know that creature, how about we milk it? And then it looks at the little Lady Ray. And she thinks, oh no, I can't do that. But really she wants to. And Maz has a sexual relationship with DJ. It's just unnecessary.
Yeah, it is unnecessary.
So unnecessary.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about here is I wanted to go a little bit further into this because people have asked me about this before. Now, I've been being asked for quite a long time about my thoughts on Reylo, and I haven't really had any chance to talk about it because I haven't seen the film, and now I've seen the film. So I know there are lots of criticisms of Reylo, which are fair enough, people who don't like it. But I do feel like people are misrepresenting it a bit because what I was seeing on Tumblr leading up to not seeing this film, I thought that the way it was being presented was that Finn and Rey were presented as love interests in this film, and Kylo was like this evil villain in it the whole way through, and who like didn't have any connection with Rey, and people were really reaching in order to avoid shipping her with Finn.
Yeah.
You know, and they were saying, oh, that's racist. And I would agree that, you know, in some ways, like, yeah, I mean, in lots of instances, there are instances in fandom where people just don't want to ship a white woman with a person of colour and they find a way around it. But watching this film, I don't think there's any validity to those complaints because Finn is not actually in any scenes with Rey, apart from towards the end, and there is a distinct... I mean, whether you interpret it as romantic or whether you like it or not, you know, there is... To be fair, the film does very much push... Rey and Ben have a connection. However you interpret that connection.
But again, I think what's caused all this hostility between the fans and this sort of civil war between the fans is the fact that the film doesn't really tell you
what you're supposed to take from it.
Yeah. As it's like they're being really lazy and leaving it open for them to do whatever they want in the ninth film because it's not planned yet.
No.
I'll tell you now, it's not planned. They're going to make it up the day before.
JJ's having a breakdown.
Yeah, JJ.
He's crying in a room somewhere.
Yeah, he's, oh God. Ryan Johnson's laughing outside. But no, yeah, it's because they don't. They've not got a plan. They sort of give a little bit of. There's a little bit of Rey and Finn. And in the regards of whenever the first thing Finn says when he wakes up is Rey, like, you know, like then they're always, and then Rey asks Chewie, she's like, tell him, and then Chewie's like,
yeah.
So if they want, they can do that. They've also introduced the weird sort of forced scene at the end where Poe Dameron finally meets Rey, and he's sort of like, hi, I'm Poe.
Great time for them to meet at the end of the second film.
Yeah. Yeah, and Rey's like, hi, I'm Rey, yeah. So they can do that if they want, but then they've also got the Force pulling together Ben and Rey.
To be fair, I think people are quite hard on some of the Reylo shippers. Yeah, some of them are not great, but to be fair, like, the film is presenting that, and I don't think it's reaching very far to interpret it that way, if that's how you want to interpret it, because that's what the film's giving us. The film doesn't know where the film itself is just messing the whole thing up because nobody knows.
The film doesn't know what it's doing.
What are we supposed to get from that? Because I thought we were supposed to see like this understanding growing between Rey and Ben, and then the end happened, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe that's not what we were supposed to take. And then I thought, well, what were we supposed to take?
Yeah. Well, what just happened? Yeah. What am I doing with my life? Yeah.
So I don't know. I just don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Let's talk about Leia. Let's talk about Leia and Carrie Fisher and all that stuff, because
Carrie Fisher.
Right, so a lot of people wanted us to talk about the I'd heard much about like the Superman Leia scene. Where she just like puts out her hand and flies through space.
I'm gonna mention the elephant in the room.
Okay.
With this film concerning Carrie Fisher.
Right.
It's that obviously Carrie Fisher passed away before the film was completed filming. And there are several sort of uncomfortable scenes in the film where you're sort of thinking, oh, okay, is this how they're writing Leia out?
Yes.
That's respectful. And then they bring her back.
They bring her back too.
At least
a lot of time.
Yeah. if I think like that sudden bit where she was just sort of sucked out into space.
I thought that was it.
Like, I think the cinema, I was just sort of shocked into silence. We were thinking, well, first of all, that's a very lazy way to write out Leia. Let's just have the door open. She flies out, and then that the sort of the really nice shot of her sort of floating in space, and you see the sun behind her.
Yeah,
and that's cool.
That's beautiful. Yeah,
and that would have been a good send off if. But then she flies. And she brings herself back into the story, and it's just uncomfortable because you're thinking, look, there's not much else you can do with Leia's character now.
Let her be.
Yeah, come on, yeah. and I think she should have when she was sucked into space. I think rather than bring herself back, maybe she should have used the Force to actually turn the other ship around or something, or actually like force the bad guy's ship away.
Yes.
When she was in space, then she
Leia.
finally like passes away or like disappears into the Force.
Yeah.
But or just some really cool. And she brings herself back into it, so that's fine. And they're sort of watching her fly past in the window. Like,
Quite calmly though.
Yeah, like,
considering.
Yeah. Thankfully, our three main characters are at that window at the time looking. I don't know what they're looking at. Were they expecting something to happen, or were they just happily watching her dead corpse fly through space?
Probably like waiting for her to like beautifully descend into the Force. Like, oh, this is it. Like, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, they're thinking, what a nice way to write out Carrie Fisher.
And then they gradually start seeing her flying
and
back
they're
to
thinking,
the
oh
ship.
dear, yeah, here we go, yeah. But then, so then you've got the part where Leia's in like a coma in the hospital beds, and so I was thinking, oh, okay, this is how they're going to write her out. She's going to be here. Maybe she'll contact Luke through the Force a little bit, but then she'll pass away. I was thinking that's smart. That's how they do it. That's nice. Yeah. And she's up again.
Yes.
She's up again, and she's back in the story. And again, you're sort of thinking,
you're nervous.
Yeah.
You feel like it's gonna go, and it's just horrible.
and then I don't know. It's just odd by the end of the film. Oh, even what's Pink Hair's name?
I don't know what her name is.
Holdo or something? Laura,
yes,
Laura
Holdo.
Dern's character, Laura.
Holdo. It's Holdo.
Something like that, yeah. Oh, even Leia probably could have filled that cool role if Leia was like, no, I'm staying behind. Vroom. There were just many ways they could have written out Leia if they wanted to, because they can't recast Leia. That's out of the picture.
No way, never.
And there's no point digitally Tarkin style recreating her for number 9.
Han is dead.
Yeah.
Leia and Han should be together.
Yeah, it's just I think it's about time, yeah. So but they just milk it so much. It's like no one told them. I'm trying to make the jokes too dark, but it's sort of like no one really told the writers that Carrie Fisher has passed away now. We can't, even if you want to leave everything else open for yourself in the next one.
You know,
there's not much point leaving this strand. Yeah.
What they needed to do was, we need to make sure that she has the best
send-off they possibly could give her.
Something heroic, beautiful, something really meaningful in the film. But a couple of things I wanted to say with regard to that. First of all, I didn't mind her necessarily coming back with the Force. It was just the way it was done. I didn't need to see her reaching like that. I thought it could have been. I've always
the whole Superman sort of.
It was more the Force became like a power. I always saw it more as like a life force. I would have liked to see her just sort of maybe the power coming from her chest and just drifting slowly, majestically, beautifully. But it felt too. It did make me want to laugh.
It was quite
It was supposed to be a beautiful moment, and I was just a bit okay. Yeah, they were just.
And then by the end of the film, once they're on Crate, and then she's already given command to Poe anyway.
Yeah.
It just sort of feels a bit unnecessary her being there now. It's just, I'm happy she had a reunion with Luke.
That was
even though it was Force projection Luke. But
I mean, I'm just thinking like.
We know they're going to start episode 9 with the funeral.
So they might as well have ended this with her dying.
Exactly.
I mean, I was saying, wasn't I? Like, what if she had died at the same time as Luke? Because I kind of feel like they're twins. They came into the world together. They're connected by the Force.
Yeah.
I mean, also an interesting parallel because Luke and Leia are connected by the Force, and so are. It looks like Ben and Rey are also.
Yeah.
An interesting connection, the Force has connected them. I would have liked to see Luke and Leia go together.
Yeah, can I just point out how cool it would have been to see when Luke had his standoff with Ben, if it was an actual lightsaber fight, and Ben started winning, and then out of those big, the big sort of military-style crate doors, they opened up, and then Leia walks out. Right, and Leia and they both sort of stop and they're looking at Leia, and we're thinking, oh, Leia's gonna sort of calm down her son. But then Leia, just like from her sleeve, drops this lightsaber. How cool would that have been? And it lights up and it's
so
like
she's fighting Kylo?
Yellow, yeah, and she's like, it's time to stop now. So, that would have been cool.
It would have been brilliant. What if somehow Kylo had realised that Luke was a Force projection?
Yeah.
They needed extra time.
And they needed someone else, yeah.
And so Leia was like, it's got to be me. And so she's not a projection. She actually goes out.
I think it's just a shame that Leia was literally one of, if not the best character from the original trilogy. And then now they didn't really do anything with her character, and even in Force Awakens they could have done more.
Well, they promised, like, I thought the first one was okay because it was sort of like setting her up, like, okay, she's a general now, she's in charge of the Resistance. And then in this film I wanted her to really, like, do something huge. Make something more of her and Kylo. I mean, it's a huge deal. I mean, Kylo has killed Han Solo. But that's a complicated relationship that deserved more time.
Yeah.
How does a mother feel? She loves Ben more than anything. Ben is her child, but he's turned bad. Like, how does Leia deal with that? There wasn't enough meaty stuff for Carrie to do.
No, yeah.
Like, there were so many times. Obviously, Carrie wasn't as mobile. She's older now. But that didn't mean she couldn't still have those big emotional scenes.
Yeah. And
they didn't give them to her. And it just felt annoying because, in a way, sometimes I think I'd rather that none of the original characters were even in these films because I'd rather them not be in it than be used and done badly and wasted.
Well, I think that's something Lucasfilm have sort of realised now because they've announced that Rian Johnson's been given his own trilogy. So he's and this trilogy will be in the Star Wars universe, but it won't be anything to do with the main cast or that story. So their focus is now going onto that, seemingly, rather than Episode 9, it seems, because I've heard nothing about Episode 9 for quite a while, other than sort of John Boyega or someone will say, oh yeah, we're working on the script or something. I just think they've realised they don't have much anywhere else really to go now with their new trilogy because they've messed it up themselves.
Yeah.
And Episode 9...
Rey's gonna kill Ben.
We know what's gonna happen, yeah. I can tell you what's gonna happen in Episode 9 right now. Hux and Ben and the First Order, maybe they'll bring back Captain Phasma again, because they like doing that. They like giving her a disappointing role, killing her off, and then...
teasing that she'll come back.
Realising they made a mistake in bringing her back.
Wasting their
but never learning, yeah. Yeah. Even though they know people wanted more Captain Phasma, they thought about 5 minutes more will do the job, and then we'll kill her off again. We know the fans, and they'll be up against the new rebels led by Poe and Rey and Finn, and there'll be a battle at the end. Maybe they'll even make a new Death Star or Starkiller base. But
bigger than the original.
Yeah, this time it's bigger. Yeah, but the bad guys are going to lose. There's a spoiler for you. Maybe in Ben's final moments he'll do something good like Darth Vader.
Done before.
Good for him. Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah. But nothing new or exciting is going to happen. I've said it before in a previous video. J.J. Abrams can go nowhere with this. He really can go nowhere. He's got to wrap up character development and plot points that haven't even kicked off yet in the third film.
Yeah.
There have been 2 films. Oh.
So he's got to, I mean, just for a start, one of his many challenges is, I mean, we've got a trio of characters where 2 members of the trio don't even know each other.
They've only just met.
So somehow, throughout the next film, we're going to need a lot of Poe and Rey because...
Yeah. It's... I don't know. I genuinely don't know what they're going to do.
How does
I say go back to Rogue One, make a trilogy out of that.
just forget these films?
Yeah.
And the good characters from this, literally just put them in Rogue One. It doesn't matter about the timeline or anything. Literally, just stick them in. Suddenly, have Finn, Poe, and Rey appear.
Yeah.
In Rogue One.
I absolutely adored Rogue One.
So did I.
I don't think I've had a better experience or a more exciting experience at the cinema than the third act of Rogue One.
It was very.
I was
exciting.
absolutely sweating and off my chair. Oh, it's brilliant.
It was the spirit of like what the Star Wars universe should be, and
it was like a perfect, it was like a mix of the
Very
modern
modern.
films with a perfect amount of sort of moments for the fans and nods to the fans, and it wasn't afraid of what it was.
No.
And it completely brought all the best things of what Star Wars is and put it into one film.
Yeah.
And they just ran with it.
Well, it was very dark, but it also managed to be very hopeful.
Yeah, and they weren't afraid to literally kill off all their main characters.
And it worked in that instance.
It absolutely worked.
You came
Absolutely
out of that story, you did feel hopeful though, in a way. Like, it was sort of
You felt hopeful, you felt excited, you just had that cool scene with one of the coolest Darth Vader scenes in any Star Wars
He's
film.
terrifying in it.
It's like a horror scene.
It is like a horror scene, yeah.
He's unstoppable. He's chopping through these rebels.
That is my favourite scene of the film. I love the time when they're kind of passing the information through the doors.
Yeah,
to people
yeah.
there, because it's just like normal, everyday people in their last moments thinking, right, we've got
This
to
is
do
for
this.
the greater good, yeah.
We've got to
We
help
can be
people.
heroes in our final moments and
We're
do
going to
this.
do this.
Yeah.
We're going to work together. Take it. Come on, pass it through. And Darth
Yeah.
Vader's cutting through them all. And it's
And
so
it
like,
adds so much more weight to Luke and Leia and Han Solo in the original trilogy,
Because you realise
because
the
they're the
stakes-
last hope.
the
Yeah, and they're
stakes are so high.
Those guys coming together to do this is what everything's been leading
because
towards.
everyone else is dead.
Yes.
And they've
yeah.
given their lives so that someone can do this. They have to do this.
Yeah.
Because all these people have given their lives so that Luke and Leia and Han can do that.
It's just great. All they picked the perfect character types for the team as well.
Didn't they? Yeah.
Cassian Andor, K2SO, all of them. They're great.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about Rogue One.
No.
But I think that's why I'm so excited for the Han Solo film.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a standalone,
They've got
its very purpose is to take place within a set time of the Star Wars universe.
Well, they've got
that
a
they
lot of
can't
scope
alter.
to do things, haven't they?
So even going in, it's got to be based in what we know as the golden era of like the Star Wars universe, that sort of time
And
from
also, it's
Revenge
like
to New Hope.
it's filling in something that we all want to know. It doesn't feel unnecessary. We want to know about how Han and Lando met.
Yeah,
We want to know that.
and I think they're going to nail it. I genuinely do. I don't know
Yeah.
why people are sort of nervous about this film. I think they're going to nail
And
it.
it's something which is going to enhance those original films, like Rogue One does. You
Yeah.
want a film to enhance
Like, there's
the other
rumours
films.
that we're gonna see how Han and Chewie meet. That Han's gonna free Chewie from being a slave, and
Yeah.
and it's gonna be
It's
great.
things you want
There's
to
gonna be
know.
some cool action sequences.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about a little bit about Finn Poe, otherwise known as Storm Pilot. So that's the ship of Finn and Poe. Yeah, I see exactly what you mean. You told me that even though they weren't pushed together as a couple in this, it kind of shone through anyway. Like, they tried to make...
It does, yeah.
Obviously, Rian Johnson did not want Finn and Poe as a couple, but it does shine through, and I think JJ should take it forward.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of... I don't know if I blame Rian Johnson, but it did... Did he write the script? Can we?
I don't know. Let me have a look.
Yeah, he did write the film too.
We found out that he did write it.
There goes that point.
No, but I just feel like what a waste, because those two characters have a lot of chemistry, and I love seeing their relationship together. And I thought I thought that they're like the whole point of this is let's do something new and exciting.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, we've got all these opportunities to do things which are new and exciting.
Imagine how much everyone would be talking about how excited they were for Episode 9 of Star Wars right now if they'd set up a relationship between Finn and Poe, and we sort of got this complicated Grey Jedi thing with Rey and Ben, and we don't know. Yeah, we don't even know what allegiance they're on.
Right,
and it's all sort of left down to sort of the maybe even Luke, and he re-teams up with the rebels, and it just needs to be up in the air.
No, do you know what I think? Like, if they'd left it on, right? So imagine Luke and Leia dead.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah.
We don't know what happens to Rey and Ben. We don't need to see them again after that final scene.
Yeah.
We don't know. When we come in the next film, we don't know where either of them are going to be. What's happening? Like, right, Poe and Finn, they needed to do a will they, won't they?
Yeah.
So that needs to be not specified but highly hinted, because that's going to happen like the Han and Leia thing in the next film. You need to leave all these things open.
And I think it's also worth saying that we're not just saying we think that relationship between those two characters would be good for the sake of it. It is so important to have a relationship like that in something like Star Wars.
Yes.
Because kids are seeing this,
it's iconic.
families are seeing this. Yeah, it is iconic.
These films will mean something.
And if it's just the norm, like, oh yeah, that super cool Poe Dameron guy, yeah, got the other super cool Finn guy, and it doesn't matter. It's just chill.
Exactly. Yeah,
No, you know,
that chemistry. I mean, in the first film, they didn't write it like that.
Yeah,
it just came across.
And it's like this new
natural.
trilogy should have been like Star Wars for the 21st century.
Yeah.
Or specifically for like 2015 to 2018, like but it just wasn't.
Putting our stamp on it as a generation.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
This is what we've got.
That's what you need to do with a film.
Yeah.
Like a saga film, for it to have any sort of impact or people to be talking about it.
Yeah.
Like no one's really talking about The Last Jedi, and sort of like just not even fans, just the sort of general audience. No one really cares. It just sort of came and went. Same sort of thing with the reception to the Avengers compared to the reception to Age of Ultron. The Avengers, I remember for weeks after people were quoting it, it was all over the internet.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron came out maybe about a week or two afterwards, and it just people sort of forgot. Yeah. There was nothing really fun that happened in it, nothing really to quote. It didn't have an impact.
It was so
with
generic,
the general audience.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
It didn't give anything new. There was nothing.
And it was Age of Ultron's a fine film, but just
it didn't give anything new. And when
it didn't push itself to be what it should have been.
No, and I feel like these huge companies, they have all this money, and I feel like they have a response. Some people argue with me on this, and you know, we have arguments about this kind of thing all the time in the community. But I feel like as a filmmaker, you do have a responsibility if you have a big franchise to do things that are going to help other people. I feel like morally, if you've got the opportunity to put something in which is going to teach people and stop ignorance,
Absolutely.
and do it in like a subtle way which isn't forced, and just do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do it. That's your opportunity. I don't understand when people don't.
Exactly.
It's like, why waste that opportunity?
And a lot of the time in Hollywood, it's not really the individual filmmaker's fault, because I think if I use the current situation DC are in as an example, it's quite clear that Warner Brothers, the studio, are consistently getting involved in what people like Zack Snyder, Jeff Johns are trying to do with their DC world. If I know there was a bad reception to Batman v Superman, and I still stand by. I think the Batman v Superman was a bit dull. It was a bit boring, but in no way it wasn't a badly made film, and at least it had a clear vision. Zack Snyder had a clear vision of what he was trying to do, and he got to that point. And that's fine, and he planned to carry it on in Justice League and wherever else. He had an idea of where he was going. But because the film was received so badly, the sort of studio got involved.
That's when it all goes wrong.
And it all goes wrong because the person trying to tell the story can't tell the story they're trying to tell, because they're constantly being told, oh, they can't have that, change that. And then you end up with things like Suicide Squad and Justice League, which...
Well done, studios.
Yeah, it's just that's why Marvel Studios are doing so well. It's because they've got two or three main people in charge, and they're their own sort of division, and they can do what they want, and they know what they need to do. They know where they're going. They know what people want to see. Yeah. They don't have people telling them, "Oh no, don't do this," because they know what they're supposed to be doing. They know their characters.
Yeah, I will say with Marvel, like, there are flaws to Marvel, but as a company, what they're doing at the moment is very much putting a stamp on superhero films for this generation. Very much so. Like, you've got films like Black Panther, you've got Captain Marvel going to come out.
Black Panther, it had such a massive cultural impact.
People love that film.
Yeah.
People absolutely love Black Panther. It's become massive.
Absolutely massive. Isn't it? I think it's definitely in the top 10 highest grossing films of all time now. If not, it passed like Iron Man 3 or something, or I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Which would put it in the top 5. I know. But they're just... Marvel know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're not rushing things. They could have... They've been leading to this sort of Infinity War thing for about 7 years now. But they've not rushed it. It has been that long. And they've given time for character. They've given time for development. They know what characters go well with what characters.
Yeah.
They just know what they're doing. There was a clear plan. But... Back to Star Wars. Oh, where are we going? What are we doing?
We just don't know.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
Should we try and say what we liked about Last Jedi?
Yeah, and then we're going to just answer a couple of questions.
I do love the scene that Ben and Ray have together where they take on the guards and
I
Snoke.
loved every single one of their scenes.
Yes.
And I have to admit, I thought they were some of the most...
And I liked how the scenes developed as well. Sort of the first one, Ray was very, very against Ben.
Understandably.
And then sort of by the third or fourth one, she's actually sort of confiding in Ben.
Well, he's telling her about, like, this awful thing, you know, why he is how he is.
Yeah.
They formed this strange connection,
And I know Snoke has some little line about how he's been the one puppeteering your connection to each other.
No, it's more...
Yeah, there's more than that. Yeah, there's so many theories saying that Snoke was just panicking and he was trying to manipulate them both and he thought he'd take credit for it.
No, but I feel like even if he has done that, he's inadvertently connected them now.
Yeah.
They are connected on a level.
Yeah.
You know, for some weird reason... See, this fascinates me. I've not seen this in a film for a long time and they should have done this. A hero and a villain accidentally ending up connected and having to face each other and realise, like, see themselves as people, not as representatives of opposite sides.
Yeah. And this is what I said to you yesterday, isn't it? What's the message of this new Star Wars trilogy? Because what I'm getting from The Last Jedi is that some people are just... They can't be redeemed.
They're just evil.
He's just evil, yeah. Even... And which is completely stupid. I don't care about comparing it to the real world. In Star Wars, which is a fictional, positive...
It's a good and evil
sort of,
analogy, like, on a huge scale.
You do not give the message, especially to the children watching what you do not give the message that, no, actually, after all this, some people just are irredeemable. Let's kill him. Like...
Yeah. No,
you want redemption, and you want people to own up to what they've done and to admit what they've done and understand what they've done is wrong. But you want them to have some sort of redemption, and you want them to make the positive steps forward to changing.
Yes. Right, thank you for putting that into words so brilliantly, because I completely agree. Now, obviously, I just want to say, like, obviously, if you're looking at things in the real world, obviously that's different. You know, if someone does evil things, someone's like a mass murderer in the real world, it's different. But fiction is a tool for education, for learning. It's literature. It's something that you look at and you learn from.
With characters you can understand more about the real world and real people.
Well, looking at villains in fiction helps you navigate the world.
Yes.
You know, most of us don't get to see lots of the parts of the world and different sorts of people, but fiction exposes us to those people.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you that I would rather a message that if you have done something awful, if you've taken a wrong turn, there is still a way back.
Yes.
Right, you've done awful things, you can still do good.
You can still make amends.
Come back and do the right thing.
Yeah.
Stand up, do the right thing.
And and again, we got that scene, but they just pooed it up. They had a big old dump on it, and they pooed it up because we had the heroic and like Rey reaches up and grabs the lightsaber that Ben sort of moves towards her, and they're back to back. They look at each other like, okay, and then they fight together, and that's perfect. Perfect. If they were going to redeem Ben, they couldn't have done it in a better way.
I just feel betrayed, and I feel like now I almost feel like, because there's people online, I've spoken about this before as well, being like, oh, you know, Kylo Ren is evil and like don't defend him. And yeah, after the events of this film, I completely like, you know, it's going to be hard to redeem Kylo now.
Yes, but yeah, that's really
fair,
annoying.
But what we're saying, and I think a lot of people like us are saying, is not that Kylo is good as he is now, but it was a wasted bit of potential for something that could have been better for Kylo.
Yeah.
It could have been a better, more interesting arc.
Yeah.
And instead they did this.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think that's similar of a lot of Reylo shippers. I see a lot of Reylo shippers getting really torn down. But I think it's fair to say that if handled differently, you know, it could be interesting. Is that so?
Yeah,
You know, it's quite interesting, isn't it? It's fascinating.
Very interesting sort of
it's something
dynamic,
that I haven't seen before. You know, I was gripped watching it. I really thought this is new. Right, so I thought we could answer some questions before we go.
Let's answer some questions. Q&A.
Okay, so we've got a couple of questions about flying Leia, which we've already addressed, but thank you for your questions. Okay, so Gamnat guy, I don't know if I pronounced that right, says, I'd like opinions on the use of queerbaiting and the continued use of such, even after a fan base has been acknowledged and let down, i.e. The Last Jedi, Cursed Child. So basically, I'm guessing you're talking about, like, Finpo. I don't think it's... Yeah, I don't think it's queerbaiting, though. Queerbaiting is... Do you know queerbaiting, what it is, or should I...
Sort of teasing an audience with doing something and then deciding not to do it. Is that it? Right.
Yeah. And I think in Star Wars' defence, I don't think they ever deliberately teased it.
Yeah.
But I think they have been irresponsible and just ridiculous and let an opportunity go.
Yes.
So I don't think it was deliberately done to like mislead, but I think it was something they could easily have done and they just let go and it's disappointing, basically. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Micro Girl says, what do you guys think of Reylo? I dislike it. My greasy space lesbian deserves better. Well, I guess we kind of thought... Well, I guess my thoughts on it are not now.
Greasy space lesbian.
It couldn't work now. Yeah, but I love that. Like, Rey is like... Yeah. I love how Rey is just like...
You greasy space lesbian.
But in a positive sense, I like it.
Yeah.
Love it. Reclaim that. The word greasy. Reclaimed. But yeah... Reclaim greasy. The interesting thing, actually, I saw the other day. I read your post, didn't I, of someone who's anti. Sorry, pointing at you.
Well, I felt quite intimidated by that.
But someone was like talking about Kylo Ren and Adam Driver and saying about how he was greasy and that I read you that, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Some of the anti-Reylo stuff has kind of descended into let's mock Adam Driver's appearance, which. No, a bit unnecessary. Yeah. How is that relevant to anything? Yeah. That's not relevant. Well, I did actually, when I watched the first film, I did have a headcanon. I thought Rey might be gay. I don't know now. I don't know. I feel like wherever they go with Rey, I'm going to be disappointed because they just let me down at every turn so far. Yeah. If they made her gay, I'd love it.
Unless they do the Luke thing where they didn't really ever specify.
Yeah, I think that would also work.
Luke never actually has a love interest in the original trilogy.
And how interesting for a female lead, because usually a female lead does have a romantic interest, so that'd be interesting. Yeah. I think had they gone down the Kylo and Rey route in this film differently, I think I could be quite interested by Reylo. I'm not saying...
I think it would have worked.
I'm not saying in real world terms... He's preparing himself. I'm not saying in real world terms it would work.
You're going to fight me.
But just in terms of that universe... I think it would be interesting to watch.
I think it would have been cool. If I knew that's where they were heading with episode 9, I'd be far more interested to watch it.
It's certainly something you've not seen before. It's interesting.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Witty, Pretty and Gay asked, opinion on the objective fact that Leia and Holdo were definitively in love, and this is indisputable. Now, I'm very sorry, my friend.
Leia and Holdo were in love.
I respect your opinion, but I'm sorry, it's Han and Leia for life. It's Han and Leia forever. Yeah. I will accept no one.
I think maybe Holdo was a bit in love with Leia.
I feel that.
As I think everyone in the rebellion should be.
Yeah, a little bit. Apart from Poe, because Poe's gay.
What did you think of the topless Kylo Ren scene?
I think that's one of our questions coming up. I actually think that's one of our questions. I kind of understand it in the sense that there was a lot of metaphors, wasn't there, with Kylo Ren taking off his mask and, the person beneath.
Yeah.
And this is again why I think it's not outrageous for people to feel like sympathy with Kylo, because I feel like the narrative was written to make you think of Kylo Ren and Ben Solo as different, very much. That was what it was trying to give you. Yeah.
Kylo Ren's like a wannabe Darth Vader, whereas Ben Solo's like a child, basically.
Ben Solo is like a child. I can understand the topless scene because it was kind of like more vulnerable. It was like, here's the human side of Kylo. I didn't really think we needed it, but...
Yeah, but I'm thinking... was the point not supposed to be Rey's a little bit distracted?
Yes. Well, yeah, I thought that was unusual. Like there was she said, didn't she? Can you put your top on? And they almost played it like they're in a rom-com or something.
But then again, it was about that, wasn't it?
Rom-com in space.
Yeah,
it's strange.
But then again, we know that they've got no actual plan, so they can do whatever they want.
The next film is just a rom-com between Kylo Ren and Rey. That's just it.
I think the next film should just be BB-8 going off on some adventure with R2-D2.
Fighting the evil BB-8.
Fighting the evil BB-8, yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of Claudia's highlights from the film yesterday.
It really was!
Whenever evil BB-8 was on the screen. Yeah.
I got really excited.
Yeah. That character should be fleshed out more. Give him his own comic.
Does he have his own evil Poe, is what I want to know.
I bet he does, yeah.
Yeah.
He's called, like, Doe Pameron.
Doe Pameron. Okay, Lisa Ward 99 asks, thoughts on Poe's storyline. I feel like he was never this highly destructive and impulsive guy.
That's what I said.
Just didn't seem like the same Poe from Force Awakens to me. By the way, I love your channel, and Finn Poe was severely lacking. Thank you very much, and we also agree.
And Dan is my favourite thing about the videos. That was nice of her.
Who said that?
Yeah. Who said that? Yeah.
But yeah, Dan, you did say
Don't talk over us, but thank you.
You did say that, didn't you?
Yeah.
You said that Poe...
He seems like, yeah.
He seems different. I don't mind the new Poe.
No, I quite like the
They
Poe.
kept the plot point that... At first I was worried they were going to just make him so reckless and, like, rude to the authority figures. But then I realised he wasn't rude to Holdo because she was an authority figure. It's because he's loyal to Leia.
Yeah.
And that kind of works with the last film.
Yeah.
So I was okay with Poe this film.
Talking of links between Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, were there any?
I can't think of many, to be honest. Can you?
I think at the end of The Force Awakens, the First Order have been massively defeated. The entire Starkiller base has been destroyed. They've all regrouped. There's seemingly a few of them. Well, there are quite a lot of them, quite a lot of good guys.
Yeah.
Then we start The Last Jedi, and suddenly they're losing again.
And they've got...
And the First Order have never been more powerful.
Yes,
It's just...
I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah.
That was something that... Yeah, are you alright? You're sort of rocking back and forth a little.
I'm much...
You right?
I don't know.
I just wanted to... Before we carry on with these, I've just literally thought of something I wanted to say. Now, I had a theory and a way that I personally would have written this. You might not care, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I spoke to Dan about this last night. So, after watching the first film, after watching The Force Awakens, I was intrigued by Kylo and thinking, okay, what's going on here? I had a theory that he was like doing a... Am I boring you?
Always.
I thought that maybe he was doing a Snape thing and that he was undercover. I genuinely thought maybe this guy is like a double agent with Leia.
That would have been cool.
You know how when Leia was young, she was involved in politics as a child, so was Padme.
Yeah, that would
I mean,
cool.
it would have been interesting to have the same thing with Kylo.
Mm.
And, you know, maybe him killing Han was... I thought maybe it was like, okay, this is... You know when Snape kills Dumbledore? It's the final... I've got to... So they trust me, I've got to do the final thing.
Yeah.
And maybe even Han was in on it or something.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. That's been killed now.
It would have been cool, but I'll tell you why they didn't do that.
Why?
Because they've not planned ahead. They don't think about these things.
No.
That's the secret of Star Wars now. Don't think about it. Let it happen.
But
See where it goes. Do what you want. So it's just a big free-for-all, really. Anyone want to contribute some lines or a script or a story or a characterisation? Go for it. We don't care. No one's in charge. Let it happen.
Okay.
You want Lando? Not going to happen. That's the one thing they don't allow.
And Finpo.
Any mention of Lando Calrissian.
Or character depth.
Character depth, yeah.
Grey areas.
Or redemption.
No.
None of that, yeah.
In our film, no.
Not in our trilogy, thanks.
JCHN Lauren, looks like John Lauren, but it's like a C. Not entirely The Last Jedi related, but I would love to know how you guys think Leia is going to be handled in episode 9.
I think that... I think I said like, a little bit earlier, but I think that episode 9 will start with just a big sort of Padme-style funeral.
Yeah, I think so.
And then that'll sort of be it covered, really. I would love for there to be some sort of scene where, because what the Force can do is so vague, that sort of Han comes back and talks to someone and maybe says something like, your mother loves you too. Obviously they can't really get any sort of...
Well, they must have, like, you know, they can... I would like to see, like, the souls of Luke, Leia and Han together.
Yeah.
Even if it was just, like, the backs of them, like Force Ghosts or something. They're young selves. They're young selves from the old films.
That'd be nice.
Just see them, like, walking off together or something.
A nice little thing in Last Jedi was when R2 shows him
I love that
clip from a better film.
Lottie SFX asks, okay, so we've already gone through some of this, but what is your opinion on the overall plot of the film? A lot of people are saying that really not much actually happened.
Not much did happen, really, did it? It was just sort of a big old chase in space that doesn't really go anywhere. Then they literally stop the chase and they're just sort of waiting for the other to sort of give up. And then, Canto Bite. Is it Canto Bright? Canto
I don't know.
Animal cruelty.
The animal cruelty plot?
Yeah. Protect the animals, yeah. If we die today, at least we protected
Freed
the animals.
these goats?
Yeah. I could die happy knowing we freed that ugly goat, that big old ugly goat that we rode through the casino.
Lottie also wants to know opinion on Reylo scenes, because some people love the chemistry. We've kind of spoken about that.
Covered it,
mate. But thank you so much.
Covered it, geezer.
Thank you, Lottie. Okay, Universe Jumper has two here. Oh, one of these controversial. Okay, first of all, we've already said a little bit about this, but I heard rumours that Lando was originally supposed to be the Master Codebreaker, and that Admiral Akbar was originally supposed to be the one that jumped to hyperspace through the ship. Do you think the move would be better if they'd kept these ideas, or better as it is? Kept those ideas.
Well.
Admiral Akbar needed more of a part.
Admiral Akbar deserves better, and he deserved better. I can't believe he was written out with just a line. I cannot believe that. That is the ultimate dump taking on Admiral Akbar, isn't it? Cool. My headcanon is he just abandoned ship. He realised
he's gone.
Yeah,
he's out.
He was thinking, this isn't going anywhere. Bye, guys.
He's stuck
It's a trap, and then he just run. Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, and the second one.
It's not going anywhere.
He disappeared.
Yeah. Boom. And I like to think rather than being sucked out, he jumped out. Yeah.
Also, I am convinced that Poe is the villain, as all of the protagonist's problems is his fault. Thoughts? No, I'm sorry, I don't agree.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that. I also go with Darth Jar Jar theory, though, so make of that what you will.
Right, now finally.
If you don't know about the Darth Jar Jar theory, look it up. It's so funny. The funniest thing is how much people actually believe and look into it. But in fairness, there are scenes where Jar Jar's sort of in the background doing weird things with his hands. And his eyes occasionally look a bit yellow. You know, I think his eyes are yellow. But occasionally he'll just be in the background, like, moving his mouth when he's not talking. You'll see him by a wall sort of going... And he does rise in his rank, doesn't he?
Very
by the end of Revenge of the Sith, yeah. He's best buds with Palpatine, yeah.
It's like he pretends to be really silly in the first film, and then all of a sudden he's
Poor Jar Jar, when they expanded the new canon, they sort of wrote him out. He's now some, like, poor jester on Tatooine that's, like performing on the streets.
Oh.
Poor Jar Jar Binks.
They should redeem Jar Jar
I said that like Jar Jar Binks, didn't I? Poor Jar Jar Binks.
Imagine if that is, though, they have had a plan all along, and in the 9th film...
if they suddenly turn around and say, we've had this plan the whole time, yeah. Jar Jar Binks climbs out of Snoke's dead body and is like, Misa back!
Gives the lightsaber, the lightsaber comes out.
Misa Darth Jar Jar.
Imagine if the film had ended with him and Luke, like...
the greatest standoff of all time. And it takes the combined force ghosts of Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan... Anakin, everyone to take down Jar Jar.
Oh my god, I'd love that.
What the ultimate finale to Star Wars.
That would be fantastic.
What a great cycle that is. From start to finish, Jar Jar Binks. They even recruit Force Ghost Palpatine to help them. He's like, I am the Senate. I miss the prequels. I genuinely love the prequels. I don't care what you say. Not you. I love the prequels. Because I grew up with a VHS of Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace. I love Attack of the Clones.
I used to keep getting the Attack of the Clones graphic novel out of the library. I used to absolutely love it.
Yeah. If you're telling me it's not like a perfect fan fiction to have your 3 leads and just put them in a big arena where there's bloody monsters everywhere, if you're telling me that's not brilliant...
They all have their own personalised monster.
And then all the Jedis come in, you're telling me, you don't enjoy that, you just don't like Star Wars, which is fair enough.
That's another fangirl asks...
My jumper looks, there's like a little bit here that looks like a koala. You see that? Eyes and a nose.
Oh yeah.
Try and unsee that.
Well, it's not on the screen, so... Just another fangirl asks, I wish they didn't ruin Hux's character. In the first film, he was a calculating, ruthless and expressionless villain where you couldn't tell what he was thinking. And now they turned him into a comic relief punching bag with cartoonishly exaggerated expressions. Agree!
I agree, yet also, I love it. Yeah, like...
It's amusing.
I just want to watch a TV show about Ben Solo and General Hux's day-to-day life.
Their ongoing hatred for each other.
Constant sort of, just beating each other somehow. Like, Hux will just dig at Ben however he can, and Ben will just...
Force choke him.
Smack him, yeah. He's like, ooh, I don't like your shoes. And then...
Don't know about my shoes.
Enough, yeah. But they love each other really, and they're best friends.
Yeah.
But no, I get what people are saying. Sort of,
yeah.
I'm surprised there was a Your Mother joke in a Star Wars film.
Yes! That felt weird.
It did feel weird. It did feel like they were sort of Marvelifying the Star Wars universe, which is fine for the Marvel films. You know,
You're the Star Wars
Marvel
universe.
have a perfect tone of sort of, they'll make jokes all the time, but it's fine because it doesn't it doesn't detract from the emotional weight. Yeah. Whereas it just feels odd when Star Wars.
You've already got something in Star Wars. Like, do your thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually.
Imagine if in A New Hope, there's that Gallagher joke from like Avengers, where Han Solo's like, well, "That man's playing Gallagher. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did." And then, how good was that Harrison Ford impression? Tell me I shouldn't have been cast as young Han Solo. Millennium Falcon, brilliant.
They should just recast the Han Solo film right now.
Well, they shouldn't, because I like Auden, but as long as they appreciate, that would have been a good idea, I think.
My thoughts on the Hux thing are that I actually think he works better like this, because essentially Hux is a metaphor, an analogy for a Nazi. Right, he is like a Nazi, and they make him a complete
nasty
fool.
Nazi.
He's like a nasty loser, and you laugh at him because he's that pathetic.
But yeah.
Like, in a way, that's
But that's
good.
his charm.
No, I like that. Like, it's very clear, isn't it, that he's a Nazi analogy, and he's just like silly.
Yeah.
Like you don't think, oh, how cool. You look at Hux, do you?
Yeah, no.
You think, oh,
yeah.
he's gonna get his ass beat by Kylo.
Yeah. I loved Yoda's. I love seeing Yoda again. I love Yoda. At one point, he said something in the film, and I sort of like reached out like
to touch his little fuzzy
yeah.
head.
Oh, Yoda. And even that, when he destroyed the Jedi books, and even Yoda saying Rey's name was exciting because it's sort of like a link between the entire saga.
But she's that important that...
Yeah, that even Yoda himself has uttered her name.
No, but Yoda, like, has probably gone through the best character arc. Because even though he was off screen, he has somehow come to a decision that the Jedi were bad.
Yeah.
And it's time to burn.
I love that, yeah. He's been in his wherever he lives as a Force ghost, just thinking about it, thinking, yeah, Tara went wrong.
Burn it, I will.
Because of the Jedi, maybe.
Okay, so Morgane's given us quite a few questions, so I'm just going to pick one.
Who has?
Morgane.
From the Arthurian legend.
Yeah.
How has she got Twitter? Crazy,
She's
isn't
magic.
it?
She's magic.
She's magic, yeah.
She's magic. So we've got... Okay, actually, well, we can go through these quickly. But make it quick. Most badass moment. Go.
Well, Rey and Ben fighting the smoke
to back.
starts. Yeah.
Completely agree. Most cringy moment.
Nipple milking. Slash the entirety of the casino sequence.
I think my most...
Slash the big ass ugly goat things.
Yeah, I think the most cringy one.
Don't make me feel sorry for them. I have no time for it.
Mine is probably when that little thing burped in BB-8's face. That just completely...
No, that was my favourite scene.
That shocked me into silence for a few seconds.
That shocked me into love. If I can't sleep unless I rewatch that scene before bed.
In slow motion.
Yeah. He just...
If you could change one thing only, what would you change? Go.
The third act.
I would change... I would switch Poe and Rose's roles in the film.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the new force powers and abilities introduced? Go.
Fine. I like them. I like it when they sort of change the force. That's the sort of canon changing I'm fine with, because it's always sort of developing and becoming something new.
It's like alive.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
yeah, and I'm absolutely fine with that.
And we also have, we've already discussed this, but Kylo Ren's shirtless. In a word, how would you describe Kylo Ren shirtless?
Ben Swallow.
Stacked.
I think this video's been quite long, but I also don't think there's much you can cut out, because I think it was all good stuff.
Look, the people know that we're just going to talk.
It's all been good stuff.
We're just going to talk and talk.
If you've made it this far in however Claudia edits this video, then you win. Go to McDonald's to get yourself one of those little Monopoly stickers on the house.
Loveless Cupcake asks,
Dan and Claudia.
Claudia, thank you so much for existing. You are by far my favourite YouTuber. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'd like to submit a question for he's jealous.
Thanks, guys.
I'd like to submit a question for The Last Jedi. What did you think about the characterisation of the characters compared to The Force Awakens? So we've already gone through that, and she wanted us to focus on Hux. We've already sort of gone through that as well. The characterisation was bad apart from with Rey. I think Rey had good characterisation. Loved what they did with Kylo up until the third act.
Yeah.
But everyone else, not really. Not really. Poe was okay, but it wasn't like what I would have done. It was alright though. Okay, there's an interesting one.
The Senate.
I've always argued against people calling Rey a Mary Sue in The Force Awakens because I assumed her force...
What is a Mary Sue?
Right, a Mary Sue is what people call
People describe Daisy Johnson from Maidensfield is a Mary Sue all the time.
Basically, what it should mean, a Mary Sue, it's a bit of a weird term, it's basically a character, that, like a female character that can just do everything. Like, it's like she can do this, and like there's no like development or anything.
Oh, okay.
But it's become like a nasty way that some people who are quite sexist can literally refer to any female character. Like, for example, like a female superhero, they'll be like, oh, well, how come she can do this? When they don't question it when, like, Batman can do something and, you know.
Okay, right.
So some people, like... So basically,
it's a silly term that we shouldn't use, really.
Yeah, so anyway, I thought her sensitiveness to the Force would be explained further in The Last Jedi, but the lack of any explanation or backstory for her... were you similarly disappointed?
Winds me up. It doesn't just disappoint me, it winds me up, because it's like a deliberate sort of... I can imagine Stephen Moffat doing it too. They know what people want to see, and they know that people have waited almost 2 years for people to find out who's Snoke going to be, who's Rey's parents, what's her link to everyone. The answer to both questions is nobody and nothing, which just winds me up. There's a way to do it that isn't. It feels smug,
doesn't it? Doesn't it feel smug?
I feel like I'm being punished in some way.
For liking Star Wars.
Yeah,
You enjoy the film.
even presuming I should have some sort of opinion or say on where this should go. How dare you? Yeah.
No, I've seen a lot of critique, a lot of people who like the film saying they like that element of you know, the idea being that you don't have to have a huge name. I agree, which is true, but why then make a huge thing of who is Rey in the first film? They could have literally just made her, hi, I'm just a scavenger.
Exactly,
There's no mystery, I'm just a scavenger called Rey. And everyone would be like, yeah, great. But they made a whole thing of, who's her parents? Who left her on the planet? She's trying to find them. And then in this film it's like, no one. They were nobody. It felt annoying.
Pointless.
Yeah.
Pointless.
It was annoying. But I don't mind them not explaining why Rey has the Force, because I don't really think... I mean, Anakin having the Force was like a bit like out of nowhere as well. I think the Force just manifests in people sometimes.
Yeah.
You just find someone and it just... I didn't mind that. Well, I think that's it, to be honest. I mean, I've got a lot of questions here that are just similar questions to what we've already answered.
Yeah.
So I think we may be done. I think we may be done.
Dun, 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 dun,
I feel like this is going to be so long. This is going to take up so much memory.
But that's alright. Don't cut out any good stuff.
I usually just cut him out of loads of stuff. You know, saying all this funny stuff, I'm just cutting him out. When he gets a bit too controversial, I have to just quiet him down a bit. Cut that bit.
The videos that Claudia uploads individually, I'm actually in, but I'm photoshopped out.
He's just too controversial in those videos. I just can't risk it.
Saying such edgy things, yeah.
I just have to get rid of it.
God, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Shock you.
Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts on The Last Jedi in the comments. Yeah, I completely appreciate that people have different thoughts. Just don't be mean to each other in the comments, please. Please. I don't want to see people
be mean to each other. Fight each other.
Alright, calm down, Palpatine.
Yes, the Senate. Yeah.
No, but people...
I am the Sith.
Something I have noticed around this film is people are being really mean to each other about this film.
Yeah.
Why?
Which is wrong. It's Star Wars.
Not the spirit of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Just...
We all love Star Wars.
We're all together, we all love Star Wars.
We love a fictional world where people have light up swords and they can throw rocks at each other with not touching them.
We love it. They fly through space.
Yeah. We've got spaceships.
Yeah.
We got Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Honestly, just be nice to
can we do the...
Which one do you want to be? We don't do who do you want to be? Who do you want to be?
Alright, I'm gonna... Hello there.
General Kenobi.
General Kenobi.
I feel like I didn't do it well enough, so you had to do it. Just in case you didn't get the reference.
Yes, they didn't recognise the meme. This is what it should have been. Yeah.
Do both bits.
No.
Go on.
No. No. Hello there, General Kenobi.
Thank you. Be nice to people in the comments. Appreciate your opinions. Would love to hear them.
Look up the Darth Jar Jar theory.
Yeah.
With video evidence, because you will be in hysterics laughing. Yeah,
it is funny. Alright, I love you loads so much, and we'll see you soon with another review at some point. Alright, love you. Bye.